Good afternoon. For those who don't know, I'm Paul Dowson. I'm a candidate in the Market Ward election coming on the 9th of July. I'm in work on a break at the moment, as you can tell. I drive a HGV lorry at the moment. I had a very long career of management jobs, whatever, but I always vowed to sort of retire doing something without the stress and being out and the beautiful countryside, which is what I'm doing. And I best explain, it's not like I can't be bothered to shave. I burnt my face in the heat wave that we had for all of a day, and it hurts, so I haven't bothered. And let's deal with the big fat elephant in the room before we go anywhere else, because there is a big one and it needs to go out the door pretty quickly. I was a county councillor from 2017 to 2022, and the only stories you ever hear are the ones where I was found guilty of X, Y and Z by an adjudication panel. I was found guilty of being a racist by the Standards Committee. Lots of other controversial things that happened. Regardless of the fact they're all ridiculous allegations, I won't go into it because it'll take me forever. But they were all true, just had some things that weren't exactly right. And I chose not to defend them because I wanted the hearings in public so I could put facts forward and they wouldn't be able to argue it. But they didn't want any of that because it was a put-up job. So I just didn't bother and they found me guilty. Apologies, I've got to keep stopping this because I'm on a busy road and every time traffic goes past it drowns me out, so it's not heavily edited. I've just got to keep stopping it. Anyway, I will say it all began, and how it all began was I stood up against council for making a public statement to say that they supported the protests going on around the world for George Floyd. Now, it was during lockdown where public gatherings were illegal, and I said that it's a waste of electricity powering up the purple lights because it's illegal, and the people that were protesting were violent and damaging property and technically breaking the law, whereas the council were the ones who were pushing for prosecutions for you or I who may be involved in a gathering, but then supporting the protests where policemen, women and horses were being violently assaulted. So I wasn't having none of it. But then apparently that was okay because it was some black guy in the USA. So yeah, that's the sort of bull that it was all about. People didn't really get to know about that, obviously, because a different narrative was pushed and it stuck. And believe you me, it's still stuck to this day. Not that I'm bothered, because I stood up for what was right, and that's all that matters. Right, County Council. I'm standing because the last time I was in, I made a massive difference. Something that's never really been reported on because of the George Floyd thing and the racism. Anyway, when I stood in 2017, I made a lot of promises. I said I'd sort out Coronation School, where all antisocial behaviour and a lot more were going on, which I did. I got rid of e-lettings and made them bankrupt, actually, on my own, because most councillors are there in name but not there in heart or courage. I cleaned up all the rubbish. I said I would. I did a lot of it myself. If you all remember, the dock was full of rubbish bags for most of the week where people just chuck them in the street, Commercial Row in particular. I got that sorted because up until I was in office, there was nobody within the council responsible for prosecuting or dealing with fly tipping or rubbish. So I made that happen. Again, alone. What else was there? The flats, I've dealt with that. The Port of Pembroke, on 2 occasions, they wanted to stack domestic rubbish from Birmingham right next to Front Street on the dock there, hundreds of feet high in bales, and this is household rubbish now, stinking stuff, for 6 weeks at a time, so it could be put on a boat and shipped off to wherever it goes. And I stood up against that, whereas many people didn't, because they feared, I suppose, the Port Authority, because they are quite a powerful organisation. I stopped it, it never happened. It was reported on, but people seem to have forgotten that because George Floyd was more important. I stopped the Port Authority from putting a petrol tanker depot on Criterion Way, which would have put all those businesses out of the way. Their properties would have been reclaimed. I even caught, I don't mind saying this, they can, complain all they want. I caught representatives from the Port Authority smashing bat boxes and destroying ponds for newts and whatever that were there because they were protected, and if they were there they wouldn't be able to build their tanker. Now, there was no planning law that prevented it, but as the paper said, I made an impassioned speech. I got Brian Hall on site, Tony Wilcox, George Manning, notable few, nobody else, and we stopped it, and they appealed and we stopped it again. But you know, I drove it, and I was the one that put myself forward for it, and I stopped it. I had Commercial Road resurfaced, which had been potholes for years and years. I didn't sort of stick to territory. If it was Pembroke Dock, I cared. It was my town, I grew up there. And like I said in my election leaflets, what I would do, and I did it and more. I took on Hywel Health Board on my own, which was widely reported, because they overspent by 86 million. And I had 5 councillors back me on the day that it went to debate. But, you know, they're back now complaining and saying that they're going to fix the NHS. No, they're not. Many can say it. I'll say it. I was born and bred in Pembroke Dock. First 10 years I was in the prefabs, if anyone remembers them, up in Britannia. Asbestos bungalows, basically. Quite good to stay with, to be fair. Then I moved to Catalina Avenue. My mother Paddy was well known for riding around town on a big white horse. Little short Irish woman, breaking in horses even into her 70s. My father has a taxi business, Geordie's Taxis. I lived in Catalina. I've lived in Lumleyth, I've lived in Princess Street, all in Market Ward. Whereas many candidates that are standing now moved away for 20, 30 years, come back and still claim to be part of Pembroke Dock. Well, I think there's a big difference, really. It matters to me. Yeah, I did a quiz not so long ago online, which sort of revoked memories of some of the things that happened many years ago. Like an encyclopedia of Pembroke Dock in my brain. I didn't move away. There was opportunity, that's what most people move away for, but I just felt that I couldn't leave Pembroke Dock. And you know, it was more than just where I was born and bred, it was part of me. So to me, if you're going to stand up in an election, do what you say on the tin, which I did. I don't want to run down other candidates, but I've seen some of the flyers and they're all full of, well, I will fight for the town, I will care, I am approachable, I am understanding. Yeah, but that's just words, just good intentions. How many times over the years have we seen good intentions? And I've been guilty of it, I've fallen for it. I think, oh yeah, they were good. And absolutely nothing happens. Because that's what happens within the council chamber. It is still a bit of a club. And if you go against the grain, look what happened to me. They totally destroyed me, but I'm back for more. I once had Neil Hamilton say that he's delighted that I was standing for UKIP. Okay, that was a while ago. And I was fearless, and the amount of abuse and attacks I suffer just falls off my shoulders. And yeah, it does. I don't care. I really don't care. I want to do a job. If I promise to do that job, I'll do it. And I'm not afraid of anything that could be a consequence of doing that job. And I'm back again for some more. They ruined my life. They took my house, my job, everything. They might do it again, but it's more important that I do what's best for Pembroke Dock. There'll be some flyers going through the doors in Market Ward the next couple of days before the election. Please have a look on the back, where I've listed exactly all the things I did for the dock. You'd be quite surprised, because it wasn't exactly publicised because of George Floyd again. But, you know, it was in the papers, my name was mentioned, but I was the driving force, and I don't want accolades, I don't want congratulations, I'd rather somebody else get that. But all I want is my own honour, my own integrity to stay intact, which it has done. Under some difficult circumstances, and it will do, because they won't stop me from doing the right thing. And at the end of the day, it's the way you have to think about it. It's the right thing. I look at the other candidates and I can't see it in any of them. I don't see... We've lost it as a society. We've lost our courage. We've lost that integrity. And I say it's all down to Christian values. I'm not a God squad person or anything like that, but I believe in the Christian values. And I think we've lost that. It's gone. And we all might think the same, but we don't all say it. And that's what's missing. And I'll say it. And if I can inspire others to stand up and do the right thing for their town, well, we're on to a winner, and it'll be a good thing. All I ask people is to remember why they're voting. On my flyer it says there's a difference between town councillor and county councillor. Town councillor deals with community groups and small civic type things. And a lot of county council candidates put on their flyers or whatever things about civic groups and whatever, because people don't know the difference. Whereas in county you need to be fighting for budgets, fighting for highways, all the things that are like cost multi-millions, things that really affect the county. It's great, groups and clubs and things like that. We need them. We'd be lost without them. But that is on a town level. So don't let the promises for that sort of thing make you think that it's going to make a difference, because it won't. What we need to do is make a difference in society. We need to, let's say, upgrade the town a bit. It's glory days, the heydays are gone. They're not coming back. But we can make it look better. We can make it more attractive. We can make it better for young people. We can make it better for small businesses. I've got some ideas on that. We've got so many industrial units and things like that still vacant. Let people have them for free. If you've got a viable business, have it for a couple of years until you're on your feet and you can start paying rent. Because at the moment, the rents are extortionate. The council waste enough money as it is, so why not waste it on something that's absolutely useful rather than something that just feathers their own nests? And believe you me, there's quite a few of that going on. Yes, I've dealt with it before. Potholes, roads, that is so important. It matters. It ruins vehicles, and again it creates a really shoddy, shabby sort of view on the town as people. It's disgusting. Well, I can't give too much detail, but I'm currently working on something else that involves, what's the best way to put it, domestic refuse again, I suppose, being shipped into our county and buried, whereas it really shouldn't because of certain things that are involved with it. But that'll come out at a later date, whether I'm councillor or not. I'll make no secret of the fact that I'm a member of Restore Britain. However, on a county level, I've always said it, and I tried being a party member, and it doesn't work. And I've always said independent is the only way you can actually do what's right for the people, because every party has its different beliefs and you can't go against it if you're a member and you're representing them at council. I don't want to represent anyone apart from the people whose vote put me there, because I've shown it before. That's what I do. I do work for the people. I don't care, which is a famous Rupert Lowe saying, but I really don't care what the other councillors think. I really don't care what these aggressive, agitating groups think. I really don't care about what names I might call you. And to be quite honest, I really don't care if you think I'm a bit of a dick. As long as you're grateful I'm doing the right thing for you. And that is something I always have a guarantee. I've never let anyone down on that. I've always done the right thing, especially for the town. And I can't emphasise this enough. I'm the only candidate that's been there, done that, worn a t-shirt. I've done the job and I've done it damn well. Nobody can argue. They might argue with it, but I've got the facts. I'd welcome the fact any of the other candidates wish to debate me on anything like that, because I've done it many times. I've asked, and not once has anyone ever taken me up on it, because I deal with facts and truth and common sense and logic, and nobody can argue, and they know that. So if anybody is brave enough to take me on anything, even if it's to rubbish my character from what happened in the past, I'm more than happy, because I'll win. Because I won't go anywhere outside of facts and truth and common sense and the people of Pembroke Dock. And my connection with Pembroke Dock goes back 50 odd years. I won't say exactly how long, but it does, and it matters. Because I got something very rare in politicians, or minor politicians like a county councillor. I can't be anyone other than who I really am. I can't act, I can't pretend, I can't say what people want to hear. All I can do is be myself. It might not be everyone's cup of tea, but when it comes to action, it's everyone's cup of tea, because I always do what the people want. Anyway, it's a bit impromptu. I hadn't planned this. I never do double takes. I always, do a video and never change it, even if I make mistakes. So, on the 9th, if you want something to happen, I hate to blow my own trumpet, but I'm definitely the only person that will actually get up there and do it, regardless, in the face of anything. If it's right for the town, I don't care. And if the people that always say, yeah, I'll vote for you, I'll vote for you, I'll vote for you, really did go out and do it, I'd be the Prime Minister by now. So please, 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 if you've got your voting card at home, make sure you use it. Don't go, because this is what's ruining our election system. So many people don't bother because we're so used to re-electing somebody who does nothing for so many years. We just got used to it, and we think I went through it myself. It's just not worth it. I hit the headlines because I said it's not worth voting because there's nobody worth voting for, and that made front page news. And if anybody's wondering what my general political beliefs are, I fully align with Restore Britain. Everything that they stand for, the immigration thing, the ridiculous renewable energy thing. I've got ideas on that as well, which probably come at a late date. It's very complicated, but society matters, and we need to get that looking a bit more healthier, and that's what it's important. And as far as Pembroke Dock is concerned, it saddens me sometimes. It really does, to go through the town and with my memory remember what it used to be like. It might not have been a multi-million-pound empire of any type of sort, but it was a society, it was a community, it had things happening. Let's do our best, but it takes all of us, not just one. I will stand up, I'll stick my head above a parapet every time. I don't care, but we need a few of us to do it. And as I've said many times, I'll always defend your right to not vote for me. But if you really do want someone to do something, it's not going to happen unless you do vote for me. We need commerce in Pembroke Dock. We need employment for people who live in Pembroke Dock. We need decent housing for people in Pembroke Dock. We need a future for people in Pembroke Dock. We've watched the town decline, and we've watched it go hand in hand with the country in decline. We have been governed by people who aren't held to account, hence why they've become narcissistic in their ways and really only care about themselves. And if you stop and look long enough, you'll see that in them. I don't want to have a direct go at any of the other candidates, but have a look. All you've got is really wide open promises, no parameters. No one's saying exactly what they want and how they'll do it. I could go on all day on this video and stop watching it halfway through, but everything I say, I've got a plan. I've got a step-by-step guide in my head of how to do it, and if I am in office, I will do it. Obviously, you've got to accept the fact that you might fail in some things, but as long as you succeed and you keep succeeding in others, you're doing the right thing. And I think this job needs more than just an ordinary person. It needs somebody with courage, somebody who isn't afraid, somebody who will fight, and somebody who will take the bullets, the arrows of whatever people are going to throw at you. That's me. I've done it before. I'm not begging you, pleading with you to give me your vote, because it's entirely up to you. Like I said, I'll never disagree with that. But if you agree with what I think needs to be done, I think you should be voting for me. Good luck to everyone else, but unfortunately I don't think anyone there is the right person for the job. Pembroke Dock, Market Ward, it's my home. I may not live there now, but it's my home. I know every crack in the pavement. I've tripped over every curb. I've raced my cars along nearly every road, my motorbikes. I've walked home at stupid o'clock in the morning through Market Ward, bumping into lampposts. I grew up there. I have memories there. I remember people who are no longer with us who lived there. I remember people being born there. Characters, people who made Market Ward what it was. And I got to say it was the best place I've ever lived. I don't make silly promises. I make realistic promises. And my honour matters to me massively. And for the place where I was born, bred, raised, bled, fell over, grazed my knees, whatever, a place like Market Ward is somewhere where I'll defend to the end. And if I can improve it, and if people want me to improve it, and if people have ideas for me to improve it, I don't care what gets in the way, because I won't stop. I will do it, or I'll try doing it. But all you'll ever get is 100% from me, which I showed last time I was in office. Unfortunately, I probably dealt with a lot of things the wrong way, probably my own worst enemy in that situation. But even in my 50s, I'd love to say 40s, but it's not true. Even in my 50s, I'm not too old to learn lessons, and I learned a big one there. But the driving force will always be there, and I will always do what I say I'm going to do. And it makes me feel good, and I like that. So vote for me on the 9th.